Hi, my name is Sherley.
And I'm Brandy.
And welcome back to Unspoken Transitions, where we talk about the nuances of adulthood and the challenges that come that people don't really talk about. So today we're going to talk about confidence. You want to share a little bit?
Yeah, so we're going to talk all about building confidence, how to build up your confidence, what confidence means to us, and increasing your own self-esteem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People want to wait till the new year, but I always say it's never like, you don't have to wait until the new year to change yourself or like work on yourself. Work on yourself as we go. So we can get it started now. So the first question that I have is like, who is somebody's confidence that like inspires you?
I feel like there's so many people's confidence that inspires me. Not just, I feel like people think confidence is just external beauty and how someone carries themselves, but there's so much more. So I'm glad we're talking about the emotional pieces of confidence. So I feel like that's what inspires me, people's like confidence in their personalities and how sure they are of themselves. So for example, I really like Keke Palmer's spunk. I think she's very confident, she's very outspoken, she's very sure of herself. Like if she says something and maybe people disagree with it, she's still firm in what she thinks and like is very sure of herself. You can tell just by the way she approaches stuff. Not to say that people don't have their own moments of like self-doubt or anxiety, but she just portrays herself as a very confident person. And I also really like Monet McMichael. She's really young, she's on TikTok. She does like these really cool vlogs. She's just very like outspoken, confident. I think she's great. I feel like there's so many other people I could probably list, but those are the two that came to mind right off the bat. What about you?
First, Keke Palmer, I agree. Like even watching her in True Jackson VP, she's always been just Keke Palmer. So like you can always just see it, and I think I think it's because her mom always instilled confidence in her, always told her that like she's amazing, and it's just a beautiful thing to see her grow literally from a little kid up until now, and she's still got the it's great.
Even in Akil and the Bee, I feel like she was super confident.
Yes, she was all across the board. She was, even when people were coming for her for her glasses and like hair and stuff like that, I'm just like, come on, she's a little girl. Like why are we doing this right now? Like I love watching people like grow and everything. I don't know who the second person is, but
I think if I showed you a picture you would know who it is.
Really?
I think so.
All right, show me after.
Okay.
Definitely want to see it. For me, confidence that like blows my mind is from Mamamoo. It's a K-pop group. Her name is Wasa, and like, oh my gosh, like when she's singing and like dancing and everything, I don't know what it is, but I don't see any of the other members. I think there's like 5 or
there's a bunch of them.
I don't see them. I only see her. Or like I haven't been doing K-pop my whole life. I feel like if I found it in high school, I would have been flourishing, but I did not. There's reasons for that probably. But I started listening to K-pop like in 2020, honestly. So when I started watching her videos, I was just like, who is she? Like what is she doing? And then her fashion, her like the way she moves, like it's like when she dances and sings, all of the attention is drawn to her, and it's just because she's 100% confident in herself, and people might just be like, oh, like, you know, she's a K-pop star, like she's pretty, she's so on and so forth. But crazy enough, to me it's crazy, but according to Korean like standards, she's not pretty. Like they say she's too tan, she's not skinny enough, like I guess her eye shape isn't like what is desirable. I have no idea what's going on over there, but this, and people like hate on her, and they have been doing it for a while, and guess what all her songs about? She's like confidence, believing in myself. She's like, I don't care about the haters. I love me. And I love that.
I love that. We need more people like that.
Yes, like I love her. She is great. I want to listen to her now. It's been a while, but her confidence inspires me when I like maybe doubt myself, where I'm just like, oh, like should I do this? Like maybe I should blend in today. I'm just like, you know what? Let me embrace my inner Wasa and like wear my fits and do what I need to do. So
I know. And I feel like listening to like that kind of music, it really puts you in the mood to like tackle your day or approach things with confidence. Like I have a self-empowerment playlist.
As you should.
I do. And like when I need to hype me up, it's like all songs that are like about confidence and girl power, and I'm just like, that does it for me, and it really just boosts up my confidence for the day.
It does. It makes a difference when you are in tune with things that are uplifting rather than things that are kind of like a downer. It's just like, there's nothing wrong with breakup music, there's nothing wrong with like sad music or people going through stuff or whatever, but when you consume mostly uplifting, upbeat, happy stuff, it changes up your mood. It changes it.
It's a game changer for sure.
No, literally. So what what does it mean to be like confident? Like how do you describe confidence?
I feel like confidence is like self-assurance in who you are. Like you're very sure of yourself, no matter what someone tells you or thinks that they know about you. You're like, no, I know who I am, and that's good enough. And like you think very highly of yourself. You speak very positively about yourself. I feel like the most confident people, they always have amazing things to say about other people and about themselves. And I feel like confidence is also like Godfidence too. Like confidence in knowing whose you are and like how he made you. Everything was with intention, you know, God crafted you in your mother's womb, like all of that stuff. And that gives me confidence to know, okay, like I am who I was created to be. And I'm beautiful in all of those ways. So for me, that's confidence.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. I never heard of Godfidence, but I think people separate confidence from scripture sometimes, because you know a lot of the Bible says like humble yourself. So people take humble yourself to low self-esteem and like I cannot appreciate anything about myself. So I love that perspective of I am who God says I am. Like I am beautifully and wonderfully made. Like I am great the way God created me from the beginning, and I should have confidence in who God made me rather than like I need to be humble 24/7 and like everyone is just I'm just below everything, and it's just it's not a
no, for sure. For sure.
It's not a good mindset. I don't like when people do that. But for me, I would say confidence is, as Disney and cliche as it sounds, it is believing in yourself.
Let me give you a wand. You need to
it's literally believing in yourself and staying true to the qualities that you have as a person.
I love that.
Cause like I feel like if you talk to a child, they're 100% themselves. They're authentically them. But as they get older, media, people, they just keep throwing insecurity into them, and then they just become a shell of their former selves until they can like maybe develop enough confidence to be themselves again. Some people, they shut themselves in and they never come back out again. So it's believing, they just don't come out. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm sorry that life and people beat you down to the point where you don't feel like you can be yourself, and you have to be a diluted version of yourself in order to be digested.
That's so real.
And it's so hard because I feel like some people have a lot of personality. They have a lot, and it throws people off, where people are taken aback, or maybe they're even intimidated, and rather than embracing it or maybe even looking up to the person, they'd rather put them down on their level. Yes, so they can feel comfy, nice and comfy, rather than like embracing the light that they have and everything. Which is tough.
I see that a lot, and especially growing up, I feel like people would be like, oh, they're so annoying, like they talk too much, like I don't like their personality, they think they're all that. And really, like that was confidence. Looking back in hindsight, like I think there's a fine line between arrogance and confidence. But I feel like most of the times it was confidence, and people didn't know how to handle that.
Exactly.
Like you're sure of yourself, you like yourself, you talk positively, okay, we don't like you, but really it's like confidence. And something that I think people should look up to.
Exactly. I remember seeing people, like women, just saying like, oh, I'm beautiful and stuff like that, and not doubting themselves. Like when someone's like, oh, like you're beautiful, and them saying like, oh, like them saying like, oh, like thank you, like, oh, like I know that I'm beautiful. Like you saying that you know you're beautiful, it takes people aback, and sometimes like, well, you're not all that, like, well, don't have such a big head, you know, like
sorry.
It's like, why are you taken aback by that? Like, are you intimidated by it? Is there something that you should work on? I think that goes to say, if you see somebody who has such like a bright light, like for example, I don't want to mention names because I didn't ask for permission, but somebody at church, I love her, and she's just such a bright light, and she's so talented, and she's just 100% herself, and I'm just like, I look up to you because you literally are such a bright light. And I always tell her in like her birthday messages and everything, never dim your light for anybody, and be yourself, because it's just so inspiring. But I think people will see that light and they want to diminish themselves, or they'll see the light and they're just like, I don't like that, I don't have this in my personality, so let me drag you down, or you'll finally gain up the confidence to dress how you want, and then you have people instilling the doubts that you work through in order to like finally show up as yourself too. So I think it's the company you keep that's important to keep that confidence up.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that's such a good point of you need people to encourage you and build up your confidence. I feel like for myself, for a very long time, I was like, I'm the builder. I'm like, yes, like y'all are amazing, go get it. But for myself, it was like that negative self-talk was there. And when I look back, I'm kind of sad, because like I think there was a good chunk of like, not my childhood, maybe like more so teenage years, where I didn't have that confidence that I have today. And I'm just like, I look back at pictures, I'm like, you were so like beautiful, and I'm like, why would you ever let anyone put any ideas into your mind? And I received that a lot growing up too, of like people, I feel like, diminishing my light, or like they just like plant little seeds in your head. And when you're not sure of yourself and you lack confidence, you're like, oh, maybe they're right, like maybe I do like look like that, or maybe I do, you know, do that. So that's tough too.
It's really tough. Like, or maybe I'm not that special, or maybe, oh, this person's better than me, so like I'm just not good at all. Maybe I should just like stop trying altogether.
Exactly. And I just love that, you know, you're building people up, because that's so important to like encourage people, because as much as you have to build yourself up, like we also have to encourage other people and build up their confidence too. And you can like see when you like compliment someone or something, like their mood just completely changes, and like mean it too. Don't just be like throwing out, I don't know,
like give authentic compliments. Because I think a lot of people, me included, when I see people with a cute outfit, or I see somebody who has like a good talent or something like that, I'm always hesitant to say something. I'm hesitant.
Really?
Yeah, I think.
I'm like, I have to say something.
Like I want to, like everything in me wants to say, but sometimes I'm just like, am I bothering them? Like, am I like, are they gonna be like, why are you coming up to me? Because I've had people where it's far and few in between. It's more people saying thank you than not. But I've bumped into people where I'm just like, oh, like I love your outfit, and they're like, oh, like kind of like, why are you talking to me? Or, like,
that happens sometimes. But I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of so I get thrown off. I'm just like, okay, maybe I shouldn't say anything. But like you said, when I do go and say, I love your sweater, I love your outfit, like, oh my gosh, your hair looks amazing. They're like, oh my gosh, like thank you and stuff. Like you can see them brighten up, or even like have more confidence in themselves and everything. So it's important to go out and like say it to them.
Yeah, that's a big piece of confidence too, of like accepting the compliment, because I feel like oftentimes it's like someone will be like, oh, I love, you know, your hair, and you're kind of like, no, oh, you know, it looks awful today. Like no one said that. Take the compliment, accept it, have that confidence, and that other people are seeing what you see in yourself.
Like it's okay to appreciate your qualities. Like you said, like every time you appreciate a quality, it doesn't mean that you're being arrogant. It doesn't mean that you think you're better than everyone else. You are just appreciating what you have and the gifts that God gave you. And there's nothing wrong with appreciating and loving yourself. And I think that we're kind of taught in society to not love ourselves, because people can make a profit off of our insecurities, unfortunately. So
that's a whole other topic.
No, literally.
It's a whole business, but
But what stops you from being your true self?
I feel like now that I live in my own place and, you know, am older, I feel like less stops me than used to. I feel like when I was younger, a lot of it had to do with the Haitian culture's perception of me, for sure. So that really got in my way, like what other people said about me. I think that definitely took a hit to my confidence, because I internalized a lot of it. You know, thank God for therapy. Because it was a huge thing. And I think like putting myself in a box sometimes was a challenge. Like I wouldn't push myself outside of those boxes at times, because I was like, I feel like I'm not confident enough to do something. Like for example, like doing a speaking engagement, like everyone's like, Brandy, you've done this before, like you can do it, you're good at public. And I'm just like, no, like I am not there. So I think putting myself in a box.
I see. I agree with you in terms of the Haitian culture and everything, just because It's so unfortunate, but in Haitian culture, they mold you to who they want you to be rather than embracing who you are as a person. And it's problematic because you might want to explore, like you said, you want to explore certain areas, you want to work towards something. Maybe you want to even like engage in extracurricular activity that's not like the norm, but because they don't see that for you, it sounds crazy, they don't see that for you, they don't encourage you to embrace it. And it really does hit at your confidence. So now, for example, for myself, so what that led to is, all right, when I move out, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna dress how I want when I move out. All right, when I move out, I'm gonna be able to talk how I want. All right, when I move out, I'll be able to like relax in like the whole entire space rather than like being confined to my room. Like when, so everything was just on like a wait list for when I move out. And then it's awful because you suppress so much of yourself, and then it goes into like, oh, why don't you talk, and so on and so forth. And it's just like, every time I've spoken to you, every single time I've shared aspects of myself, you've made me feel small, you've made me feel stupid, you've made me feel like how I'm exhibiting myself is wrong. So when you are suppressing and just holding all that in and kind of putting all the aspects of your personality on a wait list, it stops you from growing so early on. Because imagine if all of that was embraced from an early age, how far would we be now? Not to like always be like, oh, like there's a Haitian saying, "Sim te connais toujours there." It's like, all right, if I knew before, but it's like, you're a kid, give yourself grace, of course, but just imagining where we could have been if those qualities were embraced and worked on and like talked through and reflected back when we were kids up until now. It's like, I wouldn't have to start in my late 20s discovering myself and learning about my qualities and really embracing these aspects of myself. And it, like, I would already be so different. I'd be so much further, and who knows where I would have been. And that's why when I look at like, for example, Blue Ivy Carter, like Beyonce is instilling confidence and growth and all of these things in her early, so that like now I saw like a parallel on TikTok where she was dancing the first day of the tour, you saw it, and then the last day you saw the difference, like, and her,
but I couldn't finish what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say, and her mom, like the first one, her mom was next to her, and then like the last one, it was just her like doing her thing on her own, like dancing and going hard. So that's an example.
And I think pushing people to take risks, like as parents, pushing your kids to take risks is what builds confidence, because then they're like, okay, I did it, I can do it again, and I can like do something greater.
Exactly.
But if you don't take risks and you put yourself in a box, you're not going to have that confidence.
Exactly, because doing what is safe is just that. It's safe, and it's taking a risk that can help you go so much further in life rather than just sticking with what makes sense to other people and what's digestible to others. It's not people that are normal or boxed in that make differences in the world. It's the people that choose to challenge the adversities and everything and try to speak out and be different from others that makes like generational change. So I think it's just doing everyone a disservice by having everyone suppress themselves to that extent, because they're just going to be insecure, and unfortunately sometimes people don't grow out of it because they never can gain that confidence in themselves based off of that inner self-talk from when they were a child.
Exactly. And that pattern of doubting yourself, it just continues.
Yes,
I think it just continues.
Exactly. You make less risk. You just keep, because like when you're younger, you're not really thinking of consequences and all these other things. You're just like, you just do it. You can't really think of it. But like you said, as you get older, we just doubt ourselves more. We do things that are more safe because we don't want to take a risk of ruining things. Whereas as a kid, you don't have the bandwidth or capacity to really be thinking of 50 different steps. That's why you'll see a little kid run into the street. They're not thinking about the car. They're like, I'm trying to have fun with it.
They're like, I got this, you know? So yeah, they're not thinking about that. And I think more confident people, and I wonder if there's like research to back this up, because you know I'm a research like junkie.
As you should.
I wonder, like, are confident people more successful? I would assume that they are.
They are.
Because they're willing to take risks. They're willing to put themselves out there, knowing that like, and I think a big piece of confidence too is like being sure that whatever happens, like, you're gonna be all right. Like, that's a level of confidence. And I know that's confidence in God, confidence in the situation, like all of that, but like confidence that I can try out this business idea, and if it fails, I'm gonna be all right.
Yes, 100%. I think confidence, taking risk on the 100% and having confidence in yourself does lead to success, because you're willing to take a step out there and not just doing what is comfortable, because that's guaranteed success. Like starting that business, like you said, you start the business, you fail, and if you have a healthy inner self-talk, then it'll be like, all right, this business didn't work out. I know that my vision will come into fruition, but this business isn't what was meant to be. And like you said, like having confidence in the future that it will work out, having confidence that maybe this didn't work out but something else will propel you and help you to be more successful. Whereas this failed, this didn't work out, okay, it was like it's just because I'm terrible and I'm bad and stuff like that. But if you have confidence in yourself, even thinking of have you seen the Anna Delvey documentary?
Yes.
This girl,
that was crazy.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it?
Like, this girl has nothing. Like, she literally has nothing, but because she's like, yeah, I'm gonna make money.
But is that confidence, or she was a little delusional?
Oh no, she on the Delulu. She on the Delulu scale. But guess what? She's out of jail and she's rich and successful. Like, yeah. And I genuinely, like, yes, there's a high level of delusion, you know, that's like an extreme extent, but she came from like a poor family in like Europe somewhere.
Yeah, she was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, she said no, like, I'm rich, I'm famous, I can do this, I have $0 right now, but I'm gonna have $20,000 to pay. And guess what? It worked out.
I know.
That's an extreme example, but I think if you are always on the, I believe that things will work out and I have confidence in God or whatever that you believe in the universe, so on and so forth, that things will work out and this is just the step that's propelling me towards something better, or this is just something for me to learn from. Like, you take mistakes and failures as something to learn from rather than something that just means that it's done and over for me and I shouldn't even try anymore. I think when you think on the positive and it does, and you have confidence that things will work out, it does help things to work out, because when you do have the confidence it will work out, you'll try more, and if you don't, you'll just give up. So I think that's confidence 100%. I think it connects to success.
Yeah, and I think confidence and faith get intertwined.
Yes.
But I feel like confidence is the actual action part of it. Like, you actually put the actionable steps to make sure that things come into fruition, or that you alter like your level of confidence.
That is true.
Yeah.
Faith is believing that it'll work out. Confidence is taking the steps to make sure that it works out, essentially. Yeah. Which is true. You need both. You need to believe.
Listen, you need both.
Because you're doing something and you don't believe in it, why are you doing it? What's the point of doing it? Yeah. So, and I think that goes to say, definitely, okay, when you're sharing your vision and like you have confidence in doing something and you believe in it, I think it's important to hold on to that, maybe write it down and keep it somewhere, because you're always going to get the voices, you're always going to get the feedback within yourself and from other people, like, oh, like, you sure you don't want to like do this or that? So like, what advice would you give to people to challenge other people, kind of like saying like, oh, are you sure about that? Like, oh, like, what if you fail?
Like, to say to people that are telling you that? Yeah,
like how can you tackle that and not let it affect your goals?
That's so hard. I feel like for me it's more so like, I just won't hold on to what they said. But the step to kind of, it's a teachable moment, right? Like, to teach people like, hey, you know, there is more to me than what you think or perceive that, or like the box or ceiling that you have for me. Like, I'm so much more than that. How to communicate that, I feel like I'm still working on that, because I feel like a lot of my work is like, no, I don't believe what they said. Yeah, so I think honestly I would just be like, you're entitled to your wrong opinion.
That's real.
Like, you're entitled, I be saying that sometimes, like, you're entitled to your wrong opinion. If you want to believe that, fine, but you're not going to project your doubt and your own feelings about yourself onto me.
Yeah, I feel like it's tough because there are always haters that are just going to be like, yeah, I don't think you can do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's easy to just say, yeah, you're entitled to that, but like, you're wrong. But what about like close friends and close family who are maybe instilling doubt, but they mean the best? It's like, oh, maybe you should just not start the business and get a job after school, after you finish school. So like, how do you challenge people who have good intention, but still it's instilling doubt in you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm still working on that to this day.
That's real.
I feel like I'm still working on it. And I think for me, a big part of, I don't know, the people that I know, I'm very particular about what I share, because sometimes it's like I have to share something when it's done, because then they'll be like, oh, I support it. Yeah, but like in the beginning you might have planted self-doubt. So I try to separate that it has to be on good grounds, right? Like, what angle are you coming from? Is it coming from a place of concern? Like, do they know me really well? Or is it their own projections?
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that is, I was just gonna say,
yeah.
If I'm gonna start something and I'm confident and I believe in it, I'd rather just start it.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, afterwards be like, oh, hey, I'm doing this, or like, rather than from the beginning, because sometimes the opinion from the beginning will stop you from starting in the first place at all.
It will. And I feel like we're the same in the sense that we value, especially from loved ones, their input on things.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
It's important to, so I think that's a good tip. So if you're somebody who is, you want to hear other people's perspectives, you know, like you don't know everything yourself, it's good to hear. And also, if you have a strong passion or desire, or you believe in yourself to do something and you're confident in it, starting it and then letting other people know so that they can support you from there, rather than it preventing you from propelling yourself and making steps towards it in the first place. And I do think that everybody's built differently. I'm similar in a sense where it's just like, I'll just start and then I'll tell you after. Other people, maybe you're open to getting other people's opinions and thoughts, so on and so forth, and it doesn't affect you. But I think it's important to just know yourself. Like, do you know that if you tell somebody and they tell you something the opposite of what you believe in, is that going to stop you from doing it?
That's confidence.
Yeah, like
that's confidence right there. Like, your ability to be like, I'm not gonna hold on to that.
I feel like that's tough. Yeah, it's just tough because, like you said, I value friends and family's opinion, and that is you being able to say, like, all right, I have confidence in myself that this is gonna work out. I want to hear what you have to say, but like,
it's not gonna alter.
Yeah, it's not gonna alter and change. I'll consider it. Like, maybe this may happen. Maybe I might fail. Maybe this aspect might not work out. Maybe like there's a bunch of these other things, and here's what I'm gonna do to make it different and like make myself stand out, so on and so forth. Whereas like, I need to get to that point, by the way. I'm not there, but for like, if you're not there yet, like what I do or what we do is just start or selective about what you share or what you're processing. Wait till you're done processing, reflect on your own for a little bit, and just get it started before asking people for their
All right, so I feel like another big piece to confidence in my own experience was my upbringing. Like, I grew up in a predominantly white town, like in the suburbs, and I was surrounded by a lot of like white people all my life, and in school and things like that. And of course they have their own beauty standards and expectations and stuff like that. So as a dark-skinned Black woman, I often had to think about my own skin color in terms of confidence, because I felt like people weren't like attracted to me. Like, the Black men in the school, they weren't like attracted to like people with my skin tone, and if they were attracted to Black women, it was like lighter skinned women. And I feel like colorism is so real when it comes to confidence for Black women, because you know, that's not something that you can control. I love my skin now, but you know, at the time as well, it definitely took a hit to my confidence, because I'm like, dang, like, what's wrong with our skin color, or like dark-skinned women, to the point where, you know, people are speaking negatively about it, or just like comments that I would hear. Like, I've heard people say to people like, you know, you're so dark I couldn't see you with the lights off, or like stuff like that, or
the middle school comments.
I don't know, like, I'm almost as dark as, like, guys, please. But I feel like that definitely can take a hit to confidence if you're not sure of yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I think colorism is really strong in general, like the world, literally everywhere, it's there. I think also, it's also very strong in the Haitian community, because it's a thing where whoever is lighter is deemed as prettier, no matter what. I wish it was just like a white to like, you know, Black person thing, but it's like literally the lighter you are, the more pretty you are. So it's so sad. I remember being in kindergarten, and people had to pick partners for them to go on a field trip and stuff like that. It was like a buddy system, and I was always one of the last ones picked. The light-skinned girls, light-skinned girls and white girls were always picked first. They always had like their buddy, and it was kind of like we were always like the end of like the bottom of the barrel type thing. And I remember being a little kid, and I was just like, if only I just had blonde hair and blue eyes, then like I would be pretty, and I can just like, I would be like pretty if I finally had like blonde hair and blue eyes. Like, if I was even like small things down to like video games. Like if I was playing a video game, I felt embarrassed to make myself my actual skin color. I would have to make it like lighter because like that scene is prettier. So that was always deemed like, oh, lighter is prettier, lighter is prettier. So that definitely took a hit on my confidence. And you just have to like embrace who you are and see the beauty in who you are. Even if it's finding, for me what helped me was finding like a celebrity or like a darker skinned woman who I think is beautiful, and like having that person be like, oh my gosh, this is somebody that I think is beautiful and I look up to, as opposed to like having somebody who is maybe a lighter complexion because like that's what's been compared my whole life, or just like somebody who is like white, for example. Finding someone with similar features and like qualities even that I can look up to. But it was an uphill battle. Like it took a long time, and it wasn't even people around me, it was something that I had to build within myself to love who I am and to love my skin color. Even my hair, I know we've talked about hair before, but even loving my hair, how it took so much time. And when I say so much time, I don't mean like, oh, I've had this down for 10 years. Like, no, like I mean within the past like 6-7 years, that's when I was able to be like, I love my skin, I love this, I love these other things, without seeing somebody who's a lighter complexion being like, oh, they're better, oh, they have more value than I do because of like a skin color. So definitely had a big impact on me as a child, because it was just very vocal about the lighter you are, the prettier you are. And somebody who is darker, I was just like, oh, then I guess I'm like subpar. So
yeah, that's awful. And it gets so like instilled in you as well. And I love what it brings you back to what you mentioned earlier about the fact that encouragement is so important. So like if people encouraged us or amped up like our beautiful complexion back in the day, I'm wondering what our levels of confidence would have been.
That's a fact. And you want to know what's crazy? I was on a TikTok, all of the children's books that encourage like, oh, love your hair, love your skin color, love yourself, like I am enough, like as a black person, or like the curly haired books, they're all banned. They're banned in schools.
Really?
Like in Houston, I think it's Houston. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But
why is this news to me?
Like they're banned. Like all of the ones that are about like black girls specifically, about like loving themselves, so on and so forth, they're banned. So any encouragement, I don't think they want us to. That's another thing. They just don't want us to.
No, because, and I think, listen, I think that people like to put us in a box.
Yeah.
And I think it's intimidating when black people are see themselves as confident. Because if you hinder someone and you put them in a box, then they won't see their potential, they won't be confident, and they won't strive for amazing things. And isn't that where you would want to keep people?
That's
I could get into this one,
as you should.
But yeah, I just think it's like a whole other thing of, I think a lot of people want to put black people into a box.
Yeah.
And dim their light, dim their confidence, make sure that they don't see themselves in a positive light.
While also mimicking us, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't love your hair, don't love big hair. You guys will get big curls, big hair. Don't love your lips, don't love your shape. We're gonna get BBLs, we're gonna get implants, we're gonna get fillers, all of the above, so that we can have it, but it only looks good on us and not you, even though you were pretty much the blueprint for it.
Right, naturally,
Yeah, so
yeah,
they don't want us to see the beauty in us. And yeah, it just stems from so far back, and ultimately it's important. Like, yes, there's a history, yes, there's things that has gone on, but we have to remember that there's only one you. There's only you who has your personality, who has your values, and it's important for you to take confidence in that. Like, oh, I'm a dope person, like my features are beautiful, I'm uniquely me, like the way I was made. Like we were saying before, I'm wonderfully made as I am, and I'm gonna embrace that and like run in this world and just believe fully in who I am, rather than trying to fight it or change it and stuff like that. Like even thinking of, it's so sad, even thinking of Lil' Kim, like beautiful woman who did not have confidence and literally like had to alter her appearance so much in order to feel accepted by society. And I think it's just sad that like you have to get to that point, rather than loving and accepting your color and who you are and how you look, and feel like you need to do a tremendous amount of work in order to be enough. And I just think that's like really sad.
It is really sad. And I feel like in society today, altering your appearance is put under the disguise of being confident. Like, I'm so confident in myself that I need to get like the work, and not, you know, shaming anyone that that does, but I think, you know, there's also like a level of like, I feel like that's a disguise.
Yeah, it's
like you said, like people profit off of our insecurities.
That's a fact.
So like you wouldn't get that done if there wasn't some level of it. Like, let's just acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Like, let's just acknowledge there's an insecurity there that we want to address, and that also comes from like confidence too.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I think it's because like I know that people might be thinking, oh, like, well, like what if I took cosmetic surgery because like I'm sick, or like I have like it's causing me pain in my regular life. We're not talking about people getting breast reduction or so on and so forth because like you're in pain, or like altering your nose because maybe we're not talking about medical issues. We're saying just for aesthetic, like just doing it for aesthetic, or because this person is deemed as beautiful, I want to be deemed as beautiful, I'm gonna mimic their qualities in order for me to look good. And it's like, you can do what you want to do, it's your face, it's your life, do whatever you want. And also you should have confidence in who you are presently without those like surgeries and changes and stuff like that, in order for you to feel like you're enough and you can like walk in society and be confident in yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like we see that a lot in other people more than they might see it in themselves. Yeah. Because like, for example, Lil Kim, I'm like, oh my gosh, stunning, stunning. But maybe, you know, she wasn't there to see it for herself at that point in time. Yeah. You know, which is a tough part. But I'm curious as to what you do on a daily basis to upkeep or increase your confidence.
I would say I would say that, going back to what we said before, just continuously listening to uplifting things. So, for example, To My Sister's podcast, I think it's such an uplifting, like, it's just great, and it just encourages you. Like, I've had points where like I don't want to post, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, and them just saying like, go for your goals. Like,
I know,
just like
they can be coming for me in the podcast.
They come from my life to like get it together. They're like, and then they're gonna complain months from now that nothing's happening. I'm like, you're right. So like, listening to uplifting things constantly, whether it's music, listening to uplifting music. For me, I start my day off with like reading a Bible verse that like is usually uplifting, and like just going about my day that way. And so I would say like, whatever you're taking in, make sure that it's positive, and it will show in your in your everyday. Yeah, your thoughts.
You navigate the world. Yeah,
exactly. If you're constantly consuming negative things, like even TikTok, I take a break for a while. I'm like, yo, it's just negative. Like, just, and I'm like, bro, can I laugh? Like, what happened to 2020 TikTok?
I want to kiki.
Yeah, like, I just want to laugh, and you guys are just throwing like political, dark, whatever. So, just confidence, like we were saying before, comes from the inside out. So make sure what you're putting into yourself is positive and confident, and not like diminishing and insecure and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I have the same approach too, where I'm just like, what I'm taking in is gonna help me to think more positively, and I feel like that's what I try and do. And then, you know, I know we're gonna get into this probably next week, but like dressing up every day, like I feel like that boosts my confidence to the max. I notice when I'm just like outside looking rugged, I'm like, I hope no one sees me. I look wild. But like when I dress up and I feel cute, I'm just like, I feel like a lot more confident.
Yeah, you feel good about yourself. You're like, I'm feeling myself.
Right. I feel like I just exude confidence, and it makes me feel like I can go into that interview, I can do that presentation, I can have that conversation. So it really does like a number on your mood. And I'm gonna put my therapist hat on for a second, like inner child work. If you could like go back in time and talk to like your younger self, what would you tell her in terms of confidence?
She's a stubborn one, so what could I tell her? I would probably tell her that like, but it just sounds so Disney. Like, I'm like, you're beautiful.
I kind of love the corny. Like, let's stop loving the corny.
I was gonna be like, you're beautiful as you are, and you don't need to change yourself in order to be pretty. Like, everything about you is beautiful. You're not less desirable because you're not lighter. You're not less desirable like because of these things. Like, people like society just paints their own depiction of what they think is beautiful, but just because you don't fit that description, it doesn't mean that you're not beautiful. So I would say that in the gentlest way possible, in a way that she'll digest because she's stubborn. So like, that's what I would say. But how about you?
I feel like I would say something along the same lines, and I would also tell her to challenge herself. Like, don't be afraid to take a risk. Don't be afraid to do something that makes you uncomfortable. Like, I would just be like, you got this. I would be her hype woman, like, honestly. And I would tell her to not compare herself. Like you said, like, you're beautiful though, just the way that you are. A little Bruno Mars moment, but like, hopefully. That's what I would tell her. And I want to be that for other people too, especially like younger black girls that are like dark skin. I'm like, I want to uplift y'all because y'all are beautiful and inside and out.
I every single time I see a little black girl, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. I hype them up. I'm like, hello. And you have to do it because sometimes it's not happening at home, or the parents are busy, or they're not thinking about it.
For sure.
And I think no matter when you see somebody who looks good, whether it's a little kid or a grown adult, whatever, I promise you, saying that, complimenting them will only make their day better. It will not make it worse. So you might run into the few that think it's weird or whatever, but they are the weird ones. You are not the weird ones.
And they're very few.
They're very few in between.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's tough. I guess another tip I would give is for confidence is show up every day and work on your inner dialogue. Like, if you wouldn't say in your head what you would say, like, for example, I'll make, like earlier, I dropped something and I was like, girl, what are you doing? Like, get it together, throw it away. You know what I mean? Whereas if Brandy dropped something, I wouldn't be like, sis, what are you doing? Get it together.
I would be like, hello, what is going on?
Are you okay?
Like, you're having a day.
Like, are you good? But like, that goes to say, watch how you're talking to yourself. And make sure you're being as kind to yourself as you would to like a good friend. That's like a good example I would give. Like, if I wouldn't talk to my friend like that, I wouldn't talk to you like that. Let me not don't talk to myself like that. If you have in your brain like what if this goes wrong, what if this goes wrong, try to like flip the switch and just be like, kind of like catch yourself, stop, and then ask yourself, okay, what can go good? Okay, if this goes wrong, what can I do better? Rather than focusing on the it's gonna be bad, it is terrible, just catastrophizing the whole entire thing. So I think working on your inner self-talk, the kinder you talk to yourself, the better it's going to be for you when you operate in society and with people and with yourself and everything. So I'm still working on it, clearly. I just did this like 20 minutes ago. So like, just be kind to yourself, or even like ask a friend. Like, I have a friend that like, I'll be like, for example, we're in Bible study and she was just like, I was just like, yo, I guess I can't read today. And she was like, don't roast my friend like that. And I was like, you're right, you got that. Like, let me work on it. But work on your inner self-talk. Like, that's a very big one.
Positive self-talk is huge. It's huge, and we have to like think more about our thinking and how we talk to ourselves. And I love your example of like, talk to yourself like you would your best friend.
Like, don't play that game.
And affirmations too, like, I used to think they were so corny. Like, I felt so weird looking in the mirror and being like, I am beautiful, you know. And it's like, over time, you really do believe that.
It's true.
You really do believe it.
Because you're saying it out loud, you're looking at yourself. You might not, honestly, you might not even believe it, but your subconscious is like taking it in and like affirming it.
Exactly.
And another one I would say is to be confident, I think it's important to identify what you define as confident. So we defined it in the beginning. Define what it is. What qualities does a confident person have? What qualities do I want to have? How do I want to show up as this person? And making sure you take those qualities every day and you try to strive towards them. We're gonna have bad days, things are gonna happen, but ultimately, if you can identify the characteristics you want to characteristics you want to have and who you want to be, then you will automatically make strides towards being more confident, because it's something that's an active work in progress, as opposed to, oh, like, am I doing it? It's like, all right, I actively am thinking about doing this all the time and throughout. So that's like another one I think of.
And to add on to that, I would just say, like, your confidence should just be based on who you are as a person, because I think oftentimes we base our confidence on how people receive things. Like, for example, I'm really confident when it comes to like mathematics because all my professors tell me I'm really intelligent, or, you know, I do really well on the test, which is great. But you should also just be confident in like who you are as a human being, because I think we place our confidence based on societal measures, as opposed to, no, like you're an amazing person. Like, yes, you are really good at math, or you're really good at this skill, and that kind of amps up the confidence, but confidence should come from like who you are, just as you are.
Yes, yeah. So important. Intrinsic motivation rather than extrinsic motivation. Yeah. So believing in, like Brandy said, who you are as a person, you affirming your values within yourself rather than waiting for someone to say that it is good or this is nice about you. Like, I don't need to wear, someone doesn't need to tell me they like my outfit in order for me to like my outfit. Like, you don't value other people's opinions of yourself than your opinion of yourself. Like, you should be secure in who you are and your qualities and your talents and own that. And if people appreciate it, we all love appreciation, but that should not be where you start off in terms of like, oh, conflict. All right, my outfit isn't cute until this person or somebody compliments me. Like, you look cute, you look good, you are talented, and just, yes, like believing in it internally rather than externally.
Exactly. One great example, I wish I could remember the person on TikTok. I know we always take it to TikTok University, but no, she was saying that, like, for example, if I'm wearing a black shirt, right, like, and I go outside and you come up to me and you're like, your shirt is red, I don't be like, no, it's not. I know for sure it's black, for real. But that's like the same thing with like if someone attacks your character or a part of you. It's like, no, I know for sure, I'm not crazy, like this is it's black.
Yeah.
You cannot come up here and tell me it's red.
I love that.
Because I know for sure, like, I believe it for sure that my shirt is black. So regardless of what you say, you can name all the colors of the rainbow, but my shirt is black. And I think the same thing goes for if anyone tries to come at you for any part of yourself that you are confident and sure about.
That is a really good one. I never thought of it that way. It's just like, honestly, clearly you're wrong. Like, you're wrong.
No, clearly. But it's not as plain and simple as like a color shirt. But yeah.
But I think that's a perfect analogy though. If you think of it as like, all right, I know that I am beautiful. If somebody comes up to you and they're just like, you're not beautiful, you're like, well, I know that I am. Right. So like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
At this point.
Like, I don't know what you're saying.
Exactly.
So like, that's a really good one. And the last one I'll say is, this whatever. Treat yourself as the main character of your own story. Like, if you like treat yourself like the main character, like you romanticize everything. Like, think about when you're reading a book, to like, oh, I like put on this shirt and then I'm running to the bus stop to like get the train to go to my corporate job, and like, it's like, just
play it out.
Yeah, play it out. Like, you're the main character of your story. Like, make it interesting. Take a risk. You wouldn't want to read a story about somebody who's just waking up, going to work, nothing happens at work, they come home and then they go to sleep. That's a boring book. Make the book interesting. Make your story, be the main character. Don't be a side character in your story. And be the good main character that you'd want to continue reading about. Don't be no villain or whatever.
Right, like a miserable main character.
Yeah, like, you don't want that. You know what I'm saying? So like, operate like you're the main character of your story. It's your story. You are there's only one you. Appreciate who you are. Like, just own it. Own your life. Like, you only got one, so like, just own your life. So
yeah, 100%. 100%.
But yeah, thank you for listening. And if you like this episode, please share it with a friend. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, send an email to unspokentransitions@gmail.com.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Bye.